Good afternoon and welcome inside Cal's Fieldhouse on the Simpson College campus in Indianola, Iowa, where two programs in their inaugural seasons will face off for the second time in as many weeks. Last time out, the Greenville Panthers topped the Simpson Storm 186-675 to 184-85. The 2 weeks since that meeting, Simpson recorded a season-high 185-175 and Greenville went 183-95 last week. Simply put, this is anyone's meet, and we're in for an exciting matchup today. So let's meet our commentators for today's meet. I'm Patricia Duffy, founder of one of the industry's leading news outlets, Gymnastics Now. I've covered gymnastics in a variety of capacities over the past 7 years and also work for NBC Sports as an Olympic researcher and editor for Golf Channel. Joining me today is Greenville Gymnastics coordinator Jennifer Stukenberg. Jen?
Hi, Patricia. We are so glad to be here today at Simpson and are excited to watch this awesome matchup. I am currently the Greenville University gymnastics coordinator. I'm the assistant head coach, and I also have begun running a community program for the city of Greenville in partnership with Greenville University. And it's been a really exciting 3 months getting that started and up and running.
Awesome. So with that, let's get ready for march-in and team intros.
And now it's time to meet today's competitors. We'll begin with the Greenville men. For Greenville, Ethan Poole, Nikki Brand, Kevin Lavino, Elijah Cruz, Aaron Chandler, Thomas Copeland, Michael Avery, Cody Nancy, Ryan Varela, Charlie Kramer, Donovan Davini, Ricky May, Major Bain, Matt Conley, Dave Kramer, and Jacob Foster. The head coach of the men's first season is Zach Peters. May Jones. Ellery Gilbert. Bobby Cronin. Emily McClung. Rachel Miller. Raymond Rodriguez. Amara Nelson. Madison Carter. Madison Ford. Audra Kaiser. Sydney Hoyla. And Alessia Russo. The head coach who in his first season is Bill Hopkins. He's assisted by Michaela Curtis, Jennifer Stokenberger, Blake Bowers, and Kelly Emmer. And now, let's meet the inaugural Simpson men's women's gymnastics team. First for the men, a freshman from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Milo Staley. A junior from Toledo, Iowa, Sandy Shafransky. A freshman from San Marcos, California, Noah Paciente. A freshman from Bonsall, California, Jason Bell. A freshman from Strawberry, Massachusetts, Michelangelo Leone. A freshman from Curran, Pennsylvania, Camden Bontempo. A freshman from North Arlington, New Jersey, Chris Wayne. A freshman from Nashville, New Hampshire, Alex Catchpole. A freshman from Gretna, Nebraska, Connor Jenkins. A freshman from Dallas, Texas, Sterling Carrize. A sophomore from Edmond, Oklahoma, Kyle Kincaid. A freshman from Powell, Ohio, Ethan Simpson. A freshman from Williamsburg, Ohio, Jake Sweeten. A freshman from Ann Arbor, Michigan, Kareem Magor. And a freshman from David, Texas, Charlie Schneider. The head coach for his first season is Colin Payne. He's assisted by Matt White. The team captain scored is Sandy Jafran. And now let's meet the Storm women. First up, a freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, Olivia Short. A freshman from Murray, California, April Preston. A freshman from Ardmore, Oklahoma, Avery Ingram. A freshman from Naperville, Illinois, Bella Dix. A freshman from Hamlet Park, California, Oneka Cole. A freshman from Norman, Oklahoma, Brooklyn Morgan. A freshman from Sand Springs, Oklahoma, Emma Tolbert. A freshman from Grand Pass, Oregon, Caitlin Talley. A freshman from Norman, Oklahoma, Richard Kula. A freshman from Cumming, Iowa, Morgan Speck. A freshman from Cicero, New York, Kaylee Bristow. A freshman from Andover, Connecticut, Sydney Millette. A freshman from Medina, Ohio, Bailey Casena. A freshman from Omaha, Nebraska, Izzy Brown. And a freshman from Memphis, Tennessee, Chloe Radner. The head coach for her first season is Emily Barrett Payne. She's assisted by Mackenzie DeWorth Hopkins, Allison Dole, and Dave Contreras. And now, we ask you to please direct our attention to the American flag located on the south wall as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem.
We are heading to that first rotation. So let's take a look at our competition order. First up, on Simpson's side, they will be rotating in Olympic order as the home team, of course starting on vault, heading to uneven bars, beam, and then finishing out on floor. Greenville will start on uneven bars, head to vault, the floor, and then finish out on beam. Then let's meet Greenville's head coach, who you know very well, Bill.
So Greenville University is led by head coach Bill Hopkins. He is also the GU head coach and also the Greenville Gymnastics Center director. He spent 30 years of the head coach of Southeast Missouri State, which is in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. He led that team to a D2 national championship and also numerous D1 NIT championships. He has been a gym owner, an elite level high school coach, and he has done pretty much everything that you can do in the sport of gymnastics. He has given his life to the sport, and he came back to the college arena to go ahead and work with this amazing group of ladies that we have as our first year GU Panthers. Assistant coaches are Michaela Curtis. She is a GA that's straight out of Nebraska. We also have Blake Bowers, an assistant coach, myself, another assistant coach, and Kelly Emmerich is our choreographer who works on beam and floor routines.
Awesome. And then heading over to Simpson's coaching staff. Simpson is led by head coach Emily Barrett Payne, assistant coach Mackenzie Jaworski, and student assistant Peyton Seo. Barrett Payne is in her first season as an NCAA head coach after spending 2 years as a compulsory coach at her former club gym, Bart Connor Gymnastics Academy. She competed in college at the University of Denver for 4 years, where she earned Big 12 All-Tournament team honors on beam in 2016 and was a member of the academic All Big 12 first team as a senior on her way to earning a bachelor's in psychology. And of course now she's joined the team as this first year head coach in the team's first season. And we've got a lot of freshmen, all freshmen for the women, which makes for some very exciting gymnastics. It's all of these gymnasts, I believe, first season competing at the NCAA level in these brand new programs. Is that correct, Jen? Is Greenville also a
We actually have one sophomore. She is a transfer student from Southern Connecticut. She came to us in January. And today actually is her first shot at a lineup on beam.
Oh,
so we're looking forward to absolutely, yes.
So, of course, Simpson will be starting on vault as the home team, and Greenville will be starting on bars. Let's check out these lineups as the women go through their touch warm-up. First, Greenville on bars. Jen, let us know what does this lineup look like?
Absolutely. So we have got a really great mix of routines. We've got some kiddos that are working to put some higher level dismounts into their bar routines. But we have got 6 competitors plus 1 possible exhibition that's going to be a at the clock type decision.
Okay, awesome. And of course, for the viewers at home, if you don't necessarily follow gymnastics all the time, exhibitions, of course, we have 6 routines up. 5 of those routines count, and then the teams can also put up exhibition routines, and these routines do not count towards the team totals. It's simply gymnasts trying to get their feet wet, get some experience so they can potentially make lineups in future meets. And then of course, Simpson will be starting on vault, which is an event that they have recently been putting up some season highs on. They are capable of getting close to a 48 on this event, and they are led off by Izzy Brown and Avery Ingram, who are typically their all-around gymnasts, and I believe will be doing the all-around today as well.
And then for bars, we're going to start with Rachel Miller. The event lineup I'm seeing for our event is not quite correct. That's actually their vault lineup, but for bars, we're going to have Rachel, Madison Carter, Madison Ford, Mara Nelson, Sydney Hubach, and Reagan Rodriguez will close us out for our bar lineup with an exhibition maybe to come.
Awesome, Jen. And tell us, who are typically, in the anchor spot, that's typically the best bars worker, but what should we look out for from these gymnasts? What unique skills are we looking for? Or who really just stands out on your team on bars?
Awesome. So I would say Amara Nelson. She is actually one of our most talented gymnasts. She is an all-around gymnast. She's also on our GU Spirit team and ended up doing some cheerleading for GU as well, which is unheard of in the sport of gymnastics.
Wow.
Huge. She is a busy and amazingly dedicated young lady. So her bar routine is fabulous. She has got a great giant full double back. And the other person to watch today, I think, is Madison Ford. She just has started doing her giant full into a double back as well this week, and looking to increase those start values by adding those difficult skills in combination with one another.
And of course, you will see we are doing, this is the women's meet, but this is a double dual meet. So in addition to Simpson and Greenville being first-year programs on the women's side, they also have first-year programs on the men's side. So a double dual meet, we will see the men competing alongside the women as they go through their rotations. And of course, as we wrap up at the end of our 4 rotations, the men will continue on for another 2 rotations to end their competition. We'll cut out after that, but very exciting to see these 2 programs getting to make their season debuts, but also get to compete alongside of each other. Jen, the Simpson has seen Greenville before in competition. What did you see last time out, and what are you looking for this time out, or what is Greenville looking to do?
Absolutely. So when we met Simpson last time, we were at a home meet, and we had about 550 people in our stands, which again, Greenville is about a size of about 500 in their community. It's not a very large community, so we had an outstanding crowd that attended that particular home meet. We are looking to really stick our floor routines. We've had some falls on double backs due to over amplitude, so we are hoping to go ahead and solve that problem. Also really working to stick beam, make sure those series are tight, and make sure that all of our start values are starting from a 10-0 and not from 9-7s. The girls came into the gym and worked really hard this week, working on the little things that are going to make a big difference with scoring.
And last time out, of course, as I mentioned in the intros, well, first up, let's go and check out Avery Ingram, one of the all-around gymnasts for Simpson. Avery Ingram is from Ardmore, Oklahoma, went to Plainview High School, and she's going to start us out for the entire meet on vault. As I mentioned, Avery is an all-around gymnast. She has been, that's a great layout vault, very clean, excellent landing. Great way for Simpson to start this meet. On vault, her high this season has been a 9.375, and she's been averaging a 9.265, so relatively close to that high. It should end up being a very strong score to start Simpson out on the meet. And we'll head over to Greenville now.
Awesome. Rachel Miller is up on bars. Notice Rachel's super tight lines. She is one of our most tightest working gymnasts. She is working a double A to go ahead and put in this bar routine. But today she's just going to be doing a double back dismount. She is a good stick on that landing, Rachel. She is a marine biology major from Canton, Georgia. That was a great job, Rachel.
Great routine from Rachel. Jen, we talked about this kind of beforehand as we get ready to see Bella Dix go on vault. What is, many people that might be tuning in might be used to seeing some Division I NCAA gymnastics. What's the difference for Division III?
Great question. So typically, you're going to see skills that sometimes are a little bit easier. You're going to see a little less in the form of combination skills. But a lot of the base skills are going to be the same. We were actually at Lindenwood University last week, and it was great to see Lindenwood, but I said to the girls after the meet that their skills aren't that different. It's really the level of tightness and the level of height and bigness that some of those D1 girls, choose to throw their skills at. But the difference is not that big. You're just going to see a few smaller skills and maybe some less difficult combinations here at the D3 level.
And of course, again, this is Bella Dix coming up on vault. She does a handspring half, seemed like a pike, might have been a layout, meant to be a layout, but she sticks that landing, great, clean landing. We're still waiting on Avery Ingram's score, but that should be coming up soon. Dix, for reference, has been averaging a 9.408 on vault, and has a high of 9.575, and with that stick, she might be pushing that high this season. We'll take it back over to Madison Carter on bars.
Madison is from Chattanooga, Tennessee. She is a double major, bio and chem. She has got a beautiful Shaposhnikova. You're going to see some awesome amplitude as she goes from high bar to low bar. And she is the queen of the giant full double back. Doesn't matter how on or off that giant full is going to be. She's going to throw that double back, and it is sky high. So look for some really big things here from Madison. Madison also coaches for... Yep, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, score update for Avery Ingram. She went 9.4 on vault, which is a career high for Avery. So awesome job from her. And continue, Jen.
Oh, I was just going to say, Rachel, Madison's also one of the coaching staff at Greenville Gymnastics Center, and she is well loved by all of our kiddos at the center. She's an excellent coach.
So do a lot of these, it seems like everybody's really involved with the Greenville Gymnastics Center. Are there other athletes on the men's and women's teams that are coaching alongside their college careers?
Absolutely. So Ryan, who is one of our men's athletes, he's the only male who works for us, but we do have 6 other of our women's gymnasts that work with us, both in the preschool area, which is ages 0 to 5, and also in our very small community recreational gymnastics and tumbling program. We also do a lot of programming with the community, the schools, working with at-risk kiddos, homeschool groups, and also some of the cheerleading groups in the area that come to the gym to get tumbling from us instead of going out of town to other gyms.
Yeah, it's nice. As a former, cheerleader as well as gymnast myself, it's nice to not have to travel to other gyms. And we're just now seeing Brooklyn Morgan on vault, another clean, I believe, layout vault. A little hop on that landing, so she loses a couple tenths there, but Simpson is looking very strong on vault to start this meet, and like I said, they're wanting to push that 48 mark this meet. So see how that goes. Now Bella Dix did earn a 9.35 for her set, and I think this is Madison, correct, Jen?
Yes, it is. So here comes that giant full. double back, sky high, and she nails the landing. She is a very good bar worker. She'll be really happy with that routine.
Yeah, she had a lot of amplitude, and I believe we got a score from Rachel Miller, an 8.975. How does that stack up against her other scores, Jen?
Yeah, that is definitely not a good score for her. I didn't see the beginning of the routine, but I'm going to assume that she didn't hit some of her handstands, and therefore she took a pretty big hit on both her start value and just basic deductions, especially on her free hip to bail. I missed it, but I'm sure that's probably what the problem was. She probably just didn't hit it to handstand.
Yeah, and I know that some people in college gymnastics in general, we have bails that do not go to handstand, that go straight down to the low bar, and then we have bails that go to handstand, which is, it's very clear the difference. But of course, if I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, but if they don't go to handstand, they're just going to lose that little bit of extra difficulty that going to handstand versus going straight to the bail would give you.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3/10 deduction probably just for not hitting the handstand and the bail because you missed a tenth of bonus plus the value of the skill.
Mm-hmm. All right, and now we're going over to Winter Pula on vault. Great layout vault, great amplitude. Simpson is bringing a lot of layout / pike vaults, but they're doing it so with great amplitude, some excellent lines, and solid form. They get great blocks, and really it's just the landings that, are really could potentially keep them from getting towards that 48 mark. And Winter is actually from Norman, Oklahoma, of course, the home of the University of Oklahoma. Not anywhere near Indianola, but a fun fact. And a little score update. Brooklyn Morgan of Simpson earned a 9.5 on vault. And I believe Brooklyn has not competed on vault this season. So that is actually an exceptional score for her I wouldn't say it's a career high because it's her first ever, but a great score nonetheless. And I'll toss it over to you, Jen.
Awesome. You're going to see Madison Ford on bars. She does a hop to handstand, which is a combo skill to a half to a straddle back to handstand. She'd get an extra tenth if she put that all the way to handstand. And she's going to then finish with a blindfold double back dismount here at the end. Let's hope she sticks this dismount right here. Big hop on the landing, but that is a brand new skill for her, so she'll be happy she put that in the routine. This is only the second time that Madison has competed bars for us. She is new into that lineup.
Yeah, it's a very impressive routine for her to, for that to only be her second time. Oh, a nice front handspring front tuck, I believe, from Kaylin Talley of Grant Pass, Oregon. Great skill to see Simpson cap off that lineup. I believe Simpson is only going to be putting up 5 vaults for this week, so they will not be dropping a score. They will be counting all the scores listed, but at the same time, they're posting some really great vault scores, which is not surprising. Simpson's second highest scoring event, so not surprising at all. So we will get Kaylin's score and then see if they have surpassed that season high, 47.95.
I think vault is a quick hitter.
I'm sorry, say that again, Jen?
Oh, I said vault's always a quick hitter. It's being clean on vault and sticking those landings. It makes for a lot less deduction than some of the other events.
Yeah, and as far as I've seen from Greenville, there's a lot of power, a lot of variety as well from Greenville on vault. Is that correct, Jen?
Yes, we have everything from Sukful all the way through to a Yurchenko full.
Yeah, and that's I know that vault has been the team's best event, I believe. It's the highest scoring event for the team, and also they went the highest ranked event for the team. Is that correct?
It is absolutely correct, yes.
So this is a vault team, so that'll be exciting to see in the next rotation.
And it looks like Amara is up next for us. Amara is one of our all-rounders. She'll be doing all 4 events today. and she is from Lincoln, Nebraska, and she is a pre-PT major. And again, she's the young lady that is doing a little bit of everything for us at Greenville University, both gymnastics, cheer, and spirit, which again, anyone in the gymnastics community knows that is almost impossible to do.
It's just absolutely insane. I would love to sit down with her and talk to her about her weekly schedule, which I'm sure is
incredible.
No
Absolutely. You're going to notice she's really tight on the bars. She's got beautiful body line. She finishes her handstands on top of the bar. Nice toe shoot to the high bar. She's going to be really tight right here on that giant foot, and she's looking a little loose today. She's going to go through and try that again.
Hey, she didn't come off. That's impressive.
Nope.
No!
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. It's hard to sit here and not cheer. I'm not going to be totally not honest. Usually I'm at the meets with them and I'm cheering the whole time. So sitting here quietly is definitely a struggle for me. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys.
Well, that's fair. And at least, it's fair, honest, and, it's the reality of things. Of course, the Greenville program director isn't going to be on a broadcast and not be quiet sitting here just like, ah.
Yeah, no, totally hard. So she's going to go back up. She'll probably try that maybe one more time. I'm not sure if Bill gave her that instruction or just told her to do the double back. One thing about Amara, she is usually cool as a cucumber, and she's usually very, very consistent. Beautiful double back with a big stick finish at the end of her routine.
Good way to close it out. And you will see,
Absolutely.
we'll see a lot of double backs from these teams. It's a very common skill in NCAA as a whole, not really depending on the level, just in general. And one thing to look for, viewers, if you're watching at home and you might not necessarily be in the know on specific skills or bars in particular, is you want to see those legs tight together through the air and not spread, as we call it, cowboy style. And Amara is a great example of that. Her legs were glued together. Great form in general.
And this is Sydney. She is from Chandler, Arizona. She's an exercise science major. She has got a beautiful Maloney, hoping to get a Maloney half in here before the end of the season. She's got them in practice, just has not put them into a meet yet. She also has a great combo at the end, giant toe hand into a double back. And Sydney is also one of the ladies that coaches for us as well, and just has an absolutely awesome personality. To have a group of freshmen being all together for the most part, it's a lot more difficult than having upperclassmen to kind of lead you and guide you, peers that are a little bit older. And I would say Sydney is definitely one of our team leaders in terms of helping everybody keep their head and working hard in the gym.
It's so impressive that this is almost completely, the Greenville squad in particular is almost completely freshmen, and to see them, taking that freshman experience to the next level by being a part of this first year program, competing as a NCAA athlete, but then also participating and helping out the community.
Beautiful.
Oh wow, that's beautiful pack salto.
Beautiful pack salto with those toes up. They should give her bonus for those three skills in combination. Notice a nice tall, tight handstand with her feet together. And because she had that combo together, she chose, I guess, to not do the toe hand double back because she didn't need it. She already started from a 10-0 with the routine that she did, making those three skills in a row. That was a great routine for Sydney. And that's typical of what she does every day at practice. And it shows in meets.
She nailed
had some
exceptional form. Easily the best routine we've seen thus far.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
It was. She is probably one of our best and most consistent bar worker, and has been since day one when they walked in the gym.
And, obviously bars, you have to have some exceptional upper body strength to be able to really shine on bars. But, is Sydney a bar specialist, or does she also show up on any other lineups?
No, you're going to see Sydney today on beam. She does also work vault and floor, but she will not be competing either of those events today. But she does work all around. Almost all of our girls work all around, so that way with a squad of 12, we do have some wiggle room if there are injuries or, you're wanting to kind of switch that lineup around. But Sydney definitely is very strong on beam, but she's absolutely our top bar worker.
Yeah, and it's a similar situation over at Simpson. Almost all of their squad is going to be all-around workers with just a couple of specialists, 2 event specialists, 3 event specialists. But that's really important in NCAA because these are really long seasons and you can get exhausted, so you need to be able to rest gymnasts throughout the season so you can get towards that postseason push.
Absolutely. Reagan Rodriguez is going to be next for us on bars. She is from St. Peters, Missouri. She was actually a level 9 gymnast and was kind of a last-minute add to our roster. But you are going to see some amazing toe handstands from Reagan. She's got some really pretty bar work, getting to handstand being hollow, and she's got a different dismount than the rest of our girls. She does a toe front off the bar, and she's working a toe front half. Let's watch Reagan and see what she does for us today. Tight free hip handstand to bail to handstand. She's going to go ahead and do a toe hand, a toe shoot. She's going to be a little short on those handstands today, which is going to go ahead and decrease her start value. On Reagan. And dismount. So she'll be a little disappointed with that. She's been working really hard in the gym to hit every handstand that she makes in her bar routine. So she was a little bit short on those first 3 skills to handstand. A little bit of bumpy bars for the Greenville ladies today, but I am 100% sure they are going to come back strong on vault.
And I believe do we have an exhibition on bars? Is that what we discussed, Jen?
Well, there was one possibly on my list, but it's looking like she's not going to. Alessia Russo is normally in our bar lineup. She actually is currently not working a whole lot of bars due to some pain that she's experiencing. So I think they decided to take her out today and not do bars at all.
All right, well then, if that is the case, we have concluded the first rotation, and after one rotation, Simpson leads 47-5 to 44-175. Simpson did not hit that season high on vault, which was a 47.95. That's the mark that they were kind of pushing toward, but they still had a very strong vault rotation. And we'll look to continue that on bars. Meanwhile, Greenville goes 44-175 on uneven bars. Again, not close to their season high after a couple of mishaps, but they'll be looking to clean that up on vault and really take it to the next level as a vault team, as Jen and I previously.
And just stick all those landings and really work for every 10th you can.
And then, yeah, definitely. And on vault, just to touch on, I wanted to touch on Brooklyn Morgan, who had not competed in vault at all this season for Simpson and comes out, does a 9.5. She's leading the vault standings, I believe, in a tie. And so that'll be a great high for that team, as well as Sydney. Is it Sydney Hubuck?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Sydney is leading bars after a great routine with a beautiful pack salto. That was really a stunning routine and a great routine amongst a rotation that wasn't necessarily the best, but it gives the Panthers some hope heading into that next rotation.
Absolutely. They're going to be ready to go on vault.
All right, so let's check out our second rotation lineups. Of course, the home team is heading to bars, where we will get our first look at Morgan Svek, as well as Avril Crespin. And then we will also get another look at the Simpson all-arounders, Avery Ingram and Izzy Brown. And then Simpson heads to vault. They are a vault team. Jen, what should we be looking for from Simpson in this rotation?
So we're going to go ahead and see Reagan's going to throw a souffle. Look for some really good amplitude and her being tight off of that table. Rachel Miller has got an outstanding Yurchenko layout. Again, Rachel's lines are some of the best in the gym. She's tight and aggressive. We've got Ellery Gilmore. She was not on bars, but she will be with vault with us today. She did a beautiful souk layout. Again, hoping to stick those landings with tight legs. Amara Nelson's going to throw her Yurchenko full. I believe her highest score is a 9.775 on that particular skill. So we're hoping today she can kind of hit that mark. Audra Kaiser is going to throw a souk layout. That is a new skill for her. She's only been throwing it for about 3 or 4 weeks. She's switched vaults and she's had some great luck. I want to say her high score is a 9.5. And then we're going to finish with Faye Jones. Faye's one of our really hard workers, and she's going to throw a Yurchenko layout on vault as well.
It's a pretty, now obviously, it depends, but to change vaults, especially it seems during the season, that's can be challenging. I forget who was changing vaults, but Jen, how did kind of that experience go, and what led to the change?
Well, I'm not usually one of the vaulting coaches. I tend to stick with everything except vault because that is Bill's specialty. But she is explosive. You're going to notice her run. She's got a great block off of the table, and I think she was doing a hand front and her back was hurting. So they decided to transition just because body position wise that skill wasn't really good for her with her back, and it has made a huge difference with how she's feeling, and that's why that transition happened.
Gotcha. And of course we still got that touch warm-up going on over on bars. One thing to look out for is Morgan Svek. Last time out against Greenville, Morgan, I believe, had 2 falls. So she's going to want to really be eyeing that redemption routine, and she actually just dismounted from the bars in that touch warm-up. So you'll want to be looking out for her and to see if she can really put that routine together this time out. And overall, uneven bars for Simpson is not their best event. Their season high on the event is 43.55, and this is really where I believe the last time Greenville and Simpson faced off, where Greenville kind of got ahead, and there's that couple points that could really make the difference. So this will be a very pivotal rotation for Simpson as they look to hit 6 routines. They are putting up 6 routines this rotation, so they will hopefully be able to drop the lowest score, take those 5 routines, and put up a potentially season high number. That's definitely a number that the 43.55 season high they can definitely surpass if they hit their routine. So that'll be something to look out for as well.
I think bars is one of those events that tends to be just the most challenging because connecting all of those skills with the handstand that you need to hit to actually get those start values, it's just tricky.
Yeah, and especially, going back to the difference between NCAA Division I and Division III. We talked about, the little bit more basic, less connections, focus on these kind of, they see it as back to the basics, and those it's like those handstands, it's those connections, it's finding those landings, really finding that rhythm, which you can tell even from an untrained eye. You can tell if a bar routine has rhythm, if it's going smoothly, like last rotation with I'm blanking on her name, but
with Amara or
yes.
Ford.
Yeah. So, you can see when that rhythm is smooth, clean, or if it's kind of disjointed and just kind of, you're just like going from skill to skill to skill. So bars can be a beast to some, but it's other people's favorite event.
Yep. And it all depends on the day sometimes. So like you said last time, we nailed bars with versus Simpson at home, and that made a huge difference. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and that, I believe that is also, so we talked about how vault is Greenville's best event, and bars is typically that second best event as far as, national ranking goes. But it'll be very interesting again to see how Greenville steps up after that first rotation and gets going on bars. And we actually just had our first routine over on bars from Simpson from Avery Ingram, the all-arounder. And now we will head over to vault, where I believe we have Reagan Rodriguez going.
Yeah, and it
might
looks
be Rachel
like
Miller, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. I think they must have switched lineup on us. But yes, Rachel's going to throw a Yurchenko layout. Again, Rachel, she is an absolute, she's just strong. She's fast. She's a freight train down that runway. And just one of the hardest workers in the gym. She's also one of the most team leaders. We do not have captains, but if we were to choose a captain, she would absolutely be one of the ones that all the girls would agree on, because she leads on and off the floor all the time. Let's see how this Yurchenko lay is going to fly through the air today. Aggressive run, hits the board really nice, and sticks that landing. Feet were a little bit apart in the air. That's going to be a 2/10 deduction, but otherwise that's a great start for the Greenville vault lineup.
Very clean vault from Rachel, and that's so important to get this rotation started after, that bumpy first start. And I believe we had just missed Reagan Rodriguez, but Reagan went 9-3 on vault. I was probably talking. And then, of course, we're waiting on Avery Ingram's score. But in the meantime, we have Morgan Svek, who I mentioned in the touch warm-up. She's looking for a really redemptive routine versus Greenville after having 2 falls in the last time the two teams met. Morgan is from Cumming, Iowa. Very clean opening handstand, clear hip. Oh, she kept it together to that bail. Her feet do scrape on the ground, which I saw in the last time out as well, in that low bar transition. Good toe shoot, and hands down on that double back dismount. But she didn't fall through the routine, and so I would count that as a win for her.
Absolutely. That was a gutsy save. We're going to see Ellery Gilmer up next. She's going to throw a Souk layout. Beautiful amplitude in the air. Ellery is a floor and a vault worker. She does do beam as well, but she's not going to do beam today. Her major is undecided. Ellery has got a kooky and wonderful personality. Her floor routine is absolutely awesome and very entertaining, and that was a great vault for Greenville University.
And the score update on Avery Ingram over on bars. Avery earns a 9.025, which is actually a season high, career high, I guess, since they're all freshmen. For Avery on bars, her previous high was an 8.775, so quite an improvement from Avery. And looks like Rachel earned a 9.35 for her vault as well.
Awesome.
And a 9.5 for Ellery.
Awesome. So Ellery's vault, in comparison to Rachel, she was just a little bit tighter in the air, and that's where that 2/10 difference came. She was really, really tight and tall off the table. She'll be really happy with that score.
And next up on bars for Simpson, we have Avril Crespin. Avril is from Marietta, California. Sounds like Marietta, Georgia, but it's Marietta. It looks like we're gonna pop over back to Amara Nelson.
Gotcha. This is Amara. She's going to throw a Yurchenko full. Oh, good try. So,
But A for difficulty, right?
A for difficulty. That's a 10-0 start value vault. Absolutely.
It looks like Avril went for that double pike dismount. Great landing from her. As you can tell, that she is hyped up for that landing. The team is hyped for her. We like to see that energy. Definitely, especially in these D3 meets that I might not have a packed out 10,000 person audience, but we still want to see that energy.
I think anyone that transitions from club gymnastics to college gymnastics, I coached level 10s for years, and that's what I always say. College gymnastics is nothing like club. It is a true team, and the 2 hours you spend competing each weekend are two of the most fun hours you will ever have in your life, because it is just an absolutely exciting event with all your teammates around, and it flies by.
That's one of the things that I've noticed, even from, I spent predominantly the most of my time in sports competing as a competitive cheerleader, and the practices were fun for us, but the competitions were extremely daunting. And I feel like it's different for NCAA. It's like NCAA, during the week, you're obviously training alongside teammates, but you're probably more in your head, focusing on these routines, focusing on whatever you're looking to clean up that week or improve, upgrade potentially. But then once it comes time for the team, for the meet, you're sitting there with your teammates for 2 hours. You're having fun. You're dancing. You're celebrating each other. I feel like the pressure just kind of probably gets taken off a little bit. There's obviously a pressure for the individual gymnasts to deliver for their team, but it's so fun.
It is so much fun. Speaking of fun, here comes Audra Kaiser with her brand new souk layout. And 2 steps in the back, but that was due to some awesome amplitude, so you're better to do that than to go ahead and land short and take a step forward. That was a really good vault for Audra. We'll get to see her again on floor.
Audra, that was who had changed her vault, correct?
Absolutely. Yep, I think that is her third meet throwing that vault. It's really been about 4 weeks that she has that vault, so she picked it up very quickly.
And we are moving on to Annika Cole over on bars. Strong bail, she keeps her legs together, which is important. It's that handstand. She's going to come through with the toe shoot. Very clean. She's got some good rhythm, a bit short on that last handstand. And she's got that toe front dismount as well. Nearly sticks that landing. Simpson is doing a very good job of finding their landings on bars today.
Absolutely. And I like how they're hitting their handstands. I think that is the difference between a good scoring bar routine and a great scoring bar routine, regardless of the level of skill you're throwing. You've got to throw them right.
Handstands, that's the basics, right?
That's the basics. Absolutely.
You've got
everything.
You've got to hit it. And handstand really is handstand is one of those, it doesn't matter the event. You are going to be utilizing a handstand in some form on all of these events, and these are basics that these athletes learned when they were starting out in the gym at 5 years old.
Yeah, and it continues. It's nonstop. You can never do too many handstands. Up on vault, we've got Faye Jones. She's doing a Yurchenko layout. I do think this was also a newer skill. She used to have a tuck, so the layout is new. She is a nursing major from Utah, and she actually works on Wednesday nights, her only night off, at a nursing facility. Oh,
wow.
Great stick. She's going to be ecstatic with that. Way to go, Faye. Good job.
That was very impressive and exactly what Greenville needed in its last routine on vault.
So it looks like we're going to drop Amara's 8.875, which was a high score because the vault was a 10-0 start value even with that fall. But that will give them a pretty decent start on vault. It will not be equal to what their highest score was on vault as a team, but that's definitely a comeback for them after their shaky bars.
Yep, and now we will head over and get Simpson's last 2 routines with Winter Pula up next. Again, Winter Pula is from Norman, Oklahoma. Very smooth opening handstand. It's going to come down to the low bar. Hits that handstand relatively well. Might get a small deduction on that. She's going to come straight into that double back. Small hop. Again, Simpson is really finding these landings. Although they're not necessarily sticks exactly, sticks and good landings in general are contagious. So it's great to see them continuing that trend.
I think being at home makes a big difference. It looks like they're having fun. It looks like they're hitting their routines. And that's really the name of the game at college gymnastics.
And both Greenville and Simpson have some very fun atmospheres at their home arenas. But we were talking about before the broadcast how Simpson's arena is actually great. Great lighting. It seems like a very fun atmosphere. You love the tall ceilings. It kind of makes it feel, even if there's not, again, a 10,000 person audience at home, you're just like, I'm in this big arena getting to do my sport. And that adds a lot of great energy to the mix.
Absolutely. And I'm sure having the guys, this is the first time the men and women have actually competed together. And I don't know if the Simpson men and women train together, but the GU athletes do train at the same time in our gym, in our facility. So they've not gotten to see the men compete. So I'm sure to have everyone in the same arena is just really motivating.
It's really fun because, Greenville, especially, adding Simpson and Greenville women's gymnastics to the slate of, a very much thriving NCAA gymnastics landscape in the United States is great. And it's also always awesome to add a new program. But to add the Simpson and Greenville men's teams when men's gymnastics has really been struggling the past few years is just a great boost. And to have a double dual meet like this, we can't understate enough how this is not necessarily the norm, right? You are not usually seeing the men and women compete alongside each other, and this is kind of something that maybe in the future will be promoting growing men's gymnastics by having these teams compete alongside each other and increasing the eyes on men's gymnastics as a whole. But let's take a look at these team totals, okay? So Simpson went over to bars. I don't believe that score is correct. I definitely think they're missing one score. So we're waiting on that. So these team totals are not correct, but Greenville does have a redemptive, I would say, rotation on vault, a 46.625. Doesn't near their season high, but that's not necessarily what they were looking for, right? They were looking for 6 hits and be able to drop a score, have that option, and of course, hitting some new vaults. And we saw that Yurchenko full as well. So to see those that difficulty as well from Greenville is very impressive.
It is. They did a good job. They should be really proud of themselves for getting back on track. They do tend to shine on floor as well. We're hoping to stick some double backs today, make them really big, and also working on our dance, which sometimes at the collegiate level you don't talk about, but getting those feet together in between your leap series, and just really showing it off and having fun. I know last week we said you guys shine on floor, so shine, and they absolutely rose to the occasion. So I'm hoping that they can all do that again today and just have fun out there.
And then on an even bars, Sydney Huback is going to take that an even bars title with her 9-3. Again, Sydney's routine was highlighted by a beautiful pack salto. And what's her dismount, Jen?
Double back dismount.
So Sydney has a very impressive routine. If you weren't able to catch that, you'll have to go catch it in the replay because it was, as the scores tell the story, but it was certainly the best routine of the day. So if you didn't get to see it, you should go back and check it out.
It was very smooth. I'm sure she was ecstatic with that routine.
There's nothing quite like the adrenaline rush you get after hitting a bars routine.
Absolutely. Especially not when everybody else has had a shaky one. So absolutely.
Yeah, I hope she's proud of herself. All right, so let's check out the next event lineups, again, we are heading into the second half of this meet. The teams are tied at 90.8 for each team. Simpson is going to head to beam, always a challenge, but Simpson is actually technically ranked highest on beam in the nation, so we'll be looking for a strong performance from them there. And then Greenville is going to head to floor. It looks like we will have an exhibition from Simpson on beam. And Jen, tell us what we should look out for from Greenville on floor. Do we have any entertaining routines? What's the kind of vibe from these routines?
So everyone's kind of got their own style, which is so indicative of collegiate gymnastics. I would say that Faye's is fun. She is a serious worker, and her routine definitely shows her seriousness. She's hoping to go ahead and stick that double back, but she does have some beautiful tumbling and some really expressive dance. I would say in terms of entertainment, Rachel's definitely tops the charts, and she choreographed it herself. She has got double back at both first pass and last pass, and they are sky high. You're going to have to pull her down out of those rafters. And the smile that she has when she does that routine lets you know how much fun she is having and how much she loves the sport of gymnastics. Amara, again, her routine is fun and sweet, very indicative of Amara's personality, as is Emily's, Audra's, and Ellery's. They all have their own style, but they're all very entertaining.
It's always fun to see routines that are choreographed by the gymnasts themselves. If you don't know how a full routine comes together, typically a choreographer will come in and maybe the team will have a team choreographer, or they'll work with somebody in particular. But to have a gymnast choreograph a routine, it might be a little bit more popular nowadays, but it certainly takes some creativity from the gymnast to make sure that, you know, it's the right routine for them. And floor exercise routines are typically deeply personal. It's something that you really have to connect with, so you can really show that artistic aspect of the routine to the judges, and also, you know, show off that your tumbling skills, clean tumbling lines, and maybe some difficulty as well.
Absolutely. Floor is one of my favorites, and I think as a team, they have fun on floor, and it's really going to show when you watch them here in just a moment.
And Greenville actually has a season high of 47.2 on floor. So, like you said, if they have fun, if they really get going, who knows? Maybe we can see them surpass that mark today.
That would be awesome. They have been working hard.
And speaking of Rachel's routine, what is kind of the vibe from it? What can we expect? Is it kind of is it balletic? Is it hip hop?
It is
like a specific
little
theme?
bit of everything. Her club coach actually cut the music for her, and it is an Ella Fitzgerald jazzy / hip hop mix of music. And like I said, Rachel is just absolutely a pleasure to have in the gym. She works hard. She's got a positive attitude. And she loves the sport of gymnastics, and this routine definitely shows and illustrates that love and the creativity and just the uniqueness of who Rachel is, in all honesty.
Floor is so fun because, I mean, it's the crown jewel of women's gymnastics in particular. It does show off these gymnast personalities, and sometimes we can even get some really fun themed routines. The other week, I believe I was watching Alaska, maybe it was William & Mary or another program, but there was a SpongeBob themed routine. So we're always having fun. There's a Barbie routine on BYU's team. It's always a joy.
That is awesome. You must watch a ton of gymnastics.
I do.
That is awesome.
As a sports reporter, sitting here having to cover gymnastics in the NCAA season, I'm seeing all these routines again and again and again. So when I see a fun, unique one, it stands out.
That's awesome. This is Faye. She's going to start with a double back. Super aggressive on that takeoff, and she nails it. Beautiful job, Faye.
We'll try to get that music piped in so you can hear that personality. It's really important to hear that music so you can really get a vibe for the routine.
There it comes. Faye's worked really hard at getting her tumbling to have tight off the floor and big landings. Again, sticking that one.
We're going to have to ask our friend in front of us to kindly move.
She did put that switch ring in there today. That is a 10th bonus. Switch ring to Popa. This is a lot of floor work right here, so we're not missing too much with our photographer right here in the corner.
I wish we could speak through the speaker.
Yeah. And she sticks that third pass.
Oh my God. For floor, and that's the one for
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, we got
Awesome.
thank you.
And she finished with a big aerial. And again, that was a beautiful floor routine for Faye. Way to start us off. She should have gotten all of the start value for her, all of her connections for her tumbling and also for her dance.
Something to look out for on beam and floor. You're going to want to see these leaps and jumps going past that 180 mark. You really want to look at that for that flexibility. When it's under that 180 mark, that's going to be deduction. You really want to see almost that over split. You'll be looking for that. And we are going to head over to, I believe, Avery Ingram on beam. Don't think our line. Oh, there we go. Okay, Avery Ingram for sure. The beam is, of course, it's treacherous. It's difficult, and depending on the day, it can either be great or it can be miserable. So let's see how this goes. It looks like she's gonna do a candle mount, which is very difficult and also beautiful. It's always so fun. It always makes the crowd wow.
I love watching the uniqueness of beam as well. Very similar to floor. It's a little less obvious, but you get a good guide of their girls' personalities and what kind of skills they like to work when watching beam.
Let's see her flight series right here. A back handspring,
Oh.
layout. Leg comes up. She just had a little bit too much power on that, and her foot might have been slightly off onto the side of that beam. So she kicks that leg up, comes off. It's challenging. It's so challenging, but it's also a difficult flight series, and she's going to have a double leap series as well as a split jump. She did recover very quickly. Those lines looked very clean. It looked like she was definitely at that 180 mark. Full turn with a little kick out.
Yes.
And like you said, Jen, their personality definitely comes through on beam as well. We're definitely, beam and floor are really the creative, more choreographed, especially in NCAA routines. A lot of times they'll have music that they pick playing for the home team. They have a 1.5 dismount. She steps out of it a bit quick, so she's going to get a deduction there, but it was relatively stuck, so very good job for Avery Ingram to lead off the team and redeem herself after that fall.
That was a really unique leap series, the double split into the split jump. That was beautiful. Very well done.
Again, the fact that she got right back up on the beam and just went directly into it. She did not hesitate, which is so impressive. You don't want to see these gymnasts hesitating on beam. That's especially important for connection value and things of that nature. And she, again, redeemed herself very well.
All right. We are going to have Rachel next on floor exercise. And she's going to start and finish with a double back. And it looks like the judges are talking a little bit about connection value probably for Faye. If I didn't say it before, Rachel also does work for Greenville Gymnastics Center. She is our Greenville Middle School cheer team's favorite coach. She leads that particular group of middle school girls. There's a lot of girls who are scared to do skills, and she can talk an athlete into doing just about anything.
That's an impressive trait for a coach. And I'm sure those gymnasts, I mean, when I think back to being a little girl and seeing my coaches, whatever sport I was doing, it was like they hung the moon, right? It must be such a great experience for these little girls to get to work with these college athletes.
We were actually, I'm not traveling this weekend with the team because I had a rental last night. We had 300 people in the gym, a project parenting for Bond County, and to share gymnastics and love of gymnastics with people that wouldn't otherwise get to experience the sport in whatever form is experienced. I'm blessed to go ahead and have that opportunity to share that with people because I do believe it's the best sport on the planet.
It is. I would agree with you, Jen. we can let that bias show, right? So we've got Kaylin Talley over here. Another fall from Simpson, unfortunately. Kaylin is from Grants Pass, Oregon. We're gonna move back over to Rachel after that fall. Oh, it looks like we're gonna move back to Kaylin. So she's back on the beam. Nice little hop up from her low work on the beam. Good extension in her jump.
So you can go ahead, Miss.
Sorry, Jen.
You're good, love.
I was just gonna say that you can mention you can see Floor in the background of that beam routine. I believe we'll probably pop back over there in just a second. Looks like a great double back from Rachel, though.
Rachel. Awesome job, Rachel. From the cheers of everybody over there, it looks like she stuck that routine to double backs. Her leaps have got amazing amplitude, and she generally does hit all of those leaps over 180. And from the look of everybody else over there on floor, I'm hoping she stuck all of her tumbling passes.
I saw in the background, she, like you said, great amplitude on that double back. And it's always fun to see the Panthers, the Tigers adding that little bit of personality at the end with the roar. I know it's fun to roar on commentary, but that's what they do. All right, so let's head back over and see Brooklyn Morgan. So Simpson is going to have to count a fall on beam. Not ideal, but they can certainly come back from this. They've got 4 more routines, 4 more chances to hit. It's a tight meet right now. Greenville is up by a 10th. So Brooklyn Morgan is going to be looking for that hit. Brooklyn has a high of a 9.7, so that could be especially redemptive for the Simpson team if she can pull that out today. And Brooklyn is from, again, Norman, Oklahoma. So let's see what she's got. Avery Ingram, for reference, got a 9.0. Typically, Avery, when she's hitting, is going around 9.725. We're waiting on Kaylin's score, but we're going to go ahead and see Brooklyn mount the beam with a straddle mount. Nice little swing over. A little bit of a show of flexibility. You're going to see this little bit of choreography that kind of connects all of these elements together. Lovely full turn. And she's going to be moving into that flight series.
Oh.
A handspring layout step out, and again, another fall for Simpson. She comes off the beam. It's really just, again, just like sticks are contagious, sometimes, unfortunately, falls are contagious as well. It makes it really nervous when your teammate falls before you and you have to go back up and there's this pressure on you to deliver. Great switch leap. Switch half. Saves it. Has a bobble, but she does not come off the beam and she doesn't touch the beam, which is also a major deduction. So to see that, she's fighting for it. You can see the fight.
It looks like Rachel got a 9.550 on floor, and it looks like Amara is also on floor right now, going on with beam. Amara starts with a Rudy, and it was a beautiful stick finish on that one. Amara has got a beautifully clean line. And her second pass here, she goes through, our last pass, and she nailed that double back landing.
And Brooklyn actually, although she fell again in that beam routine, she did finish very strong with the gainer full dismount. I believe it was stuck, so good finish from Brooklyn.
And Amara has finished on floor, and again, she nailed all 3 of her tumbling passes. She is going to be ecstatic for that floor routine. And it looks like Rachel scored a 9.550 on her floor routine.
And Kaylin Talley earned a 8.65 for her routine after her unfortunate fall as well. So Simpson is kind of lagging behind at this point. Greenville is pulling away in this rotation. Of course, we still have half a rotation to go as well as the final rotation, so anything can happen. But Simpson is really looking for some hits in the back half of this rotation. And Greenville was just rolling on the floor. And I think we will try to hopefully stagger these routines again with some falls and some delays in scores. The alternating routines kind of got lost in translation, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to that rhythm. And we have Bailey Tessina on beam. Bailey is from Medina, Ohio. And she, I believe, is a 3-event specialist, so she focuses on vault, beam, and floor. I would also avoid uneven bars if I could. Side aerial, a little bit of a balance check right there, just a small deduction. But, you know, really, we're just looking for a hit. Simpson is looking for a hit right now. And she actually redoes that side aerial to a round off connected. We'll switch jump. Straddle quarter. Very nice little side toss. Very difficult to come down on 2 feet in any skill on beam. You're typically going to see gymnasts landing in a step out with one and then the other foot. So to see them landing on 2 feet at the same time is a real show of strength on the apparatus. And that is a front full dismount, clean, and that's a hit for Simpson. That's exactly what they were looking for.
So this is Emily McClung on floor. You'll notice her choreography is also absolutely entertaining and fits her personality. She over-rotated that double pike, but she knows that she's got to be really clean now to go ahead and make sure she hits everything so that she can get the best score that she can for our team. She's going to do a front full into a layout here. Sticks that lane with a small step.
Oh, a little death drop. That's gotta that hurts my knees.
She has got a great routine. Really well choreographed, really fun. She's gonna finish here with her final pass. Ends with a front full. Nailed that landing right there at the end. And she did a good job. She's been struggling to keep that double pike on her feet. She's going to keep working, and I know that she is going to get it.
And, you know, versus, you want to, in my opinion, from my experience with tumbling, I'd prefer to over-rotate than under-rotate. Right?
Absolutely.
But it's all about finding that happy medium with the control.
Yeah. Got to find your feet.
Yeah, exactly. We have Avril Crespin up on beam. She's got the little space buns, kind of channeling her inner Ping Ping Lee. Beautiful full turn. Avril is from, again, Marietta, California. Gonna go into her flight series. Back handspring, layout, step out. Big bounce check, but she does hang on, does not come off the beam, which is exactly what this team is looking for right now after those opening 3 falls. And Bailey Tessina for her hit, the previous routine earned a 9.5, so that's going to go a long way for Simpson. Side aerial, and it's just, I don't have a close-up of her feet, but you could just tell it was a bit offline, so she wasn't able to hang on and comes off the apparatus. Beautiful split jump, believe that was supposed to be a ring jump. Didn't necessarily hit that ring shape, and her head didn't release like it's supposed to. You see that gainer full, and bend in the knees, but a very entertaining dismount to come off the beam off the side like that versus a round off dismount that you'll typically see off the end of the beam.
We are still waiting for Amara's score to come up from her floor routine. But next, you're going to see Audra Kaiser. Audra is from Minnesota, another one of our coaches for GGC, and this routine, again, full of personality. She's going to start
I'm gonna have to ask the
Go ahead.
men's gymnast to get out of the way.
She's going to start with an awesome double back here. She's got superpower. And she nails it. Her dance is really fun. She actually choreographed this with her home coach before she arriving at Greenville. And she liked it so much she didn't want to switch it up.
Fun. Sometimes it's too hard to part with a routine after one season.
She loved this one. So that was a Rudy, a little loose in the legs, but again, she had great amplitude and only a small step. Love that death drop. Absolutely. Here comes her leap pass, switch ring, a little loose on that back knee in the ring position, but they should give her credit for that switch ring. Final tumbling pass, 1.5 to front tuck, and she sticks it. Good routine for Audra Kaiser. Sometimes she throws a layout in there, but she went with the front tuck today out of the 1.5.
And last up for Simpson on beam, we have Olivia Short. Front aerial, major balance check, but again, she's not touching the beam. She's not coming off. They're looking for hits at this point from the Simpson Pride. Little beat jump is nice, creative show of balance and a little bit of difficulty, and front tuck full off the end of the beam. You can see the rest of the routine, but from what we did see, it was a hit, which is what they were looking for. Avril Crespin for the routine before her earned an 8.7. So this is definitely not going to be towards a season high by any means for Simpson, but they did have some redemptive routines, Amelia Tessina, and potentially Olivia Short. We'll see how that routine, what that final score comes through as.
Next on floor, Amara did score an 8.975, so we didn't see her. I did not see her double back. She might have not made that particular skill. Looking at that score, she must have gotten a fall. Emily scores an 8.55, and Ellery Gilmer is next. She has 2 double in her routine, 2 double pikes, one for the first pass and one for the second. And her routine is also classified probably as classy and fun. I know that these girls really want to hit 6 for 6. That's going to be their goal for the rest of the season that we have left. They'll have 2 more meets after this meet. They'll have a home meet on the 25th of February at Greenville University, and then they'll also have our final meet versus Fisk University on March 11th.
And that Fisk is also another new program, so that's a very exciting matchup. That is the first HBCU program, really setting the tone for these historically black colleges to come to the NCAA level. It was actually announced earlier this season that Talladega is going to be the second HBCU program. They will be joining the mix next season with Aja Sims, a former NCAA Division I standout, leading that squad.
Ellery's going to start with a double pike. And she nails it. I'm sure her smile is huge right now. Notice her pretty feet when she is chasséing. She did a switch ring. That is a new skill for her so that she can have a higher start value. And they may or may not give her that switch ring. Her knee was not quite bent enough. Front full to Leia with super tight legs. She's looking really confident today on floor exercise. Going to finish with a double pike. End of the routine, it's so important to make sure that you're breathing and that you stick with what you know. And she goes with a double tuck, but she nails it.
Breathing is so important in these floor exercise routines. Sometimes you can just get ahead of yourself, and then by the end you're just like, and that can definitely impact your tumbling.
Absolutely. So that is a great routine for Ellery. Sometimes that last double back, she's a hard time finding that landing. So I think in terms of floor exercise, although our scores don't represent exactly how well they competed, I do feel like that was a pretty good floor rotation for Greenville University in terms of stuck landings on those double backs, which was one of our goals in the gym this week.
So as we come towards the end of rotation 3, we are waiting on Ellery. Is it Ellery? I'm sorry, Jen.
You did perfect. It's Ellery Gilmore, and I always say Gilmore as well, so you're totally good. Ellery.
Like Gilmore Girls, you get caught up.
That's
one of my favorite shows.
And I thought I was too old. I didn't think you guys even knew what that show was. But yes, that's what I always want to say, and I have to get it right.
You kind of look like Lorelai Gilmore. People can't see us at home, but
yeah.
So let's take a little look at the standings after rotation 3. Greenville leads. After that, we left rotation 2 with a tie, and Greenville has jumped ahead after a bit of a struggle for Simpson on beam. Greenville's leading 136.15 to Simpson's 135.975. Simpson earned a 45.175, well below their season high after only being able to hit 2 routines. And then Greenville posts a 45.35. Again, not their season high, but definitely some high points in that rotation for the Panthers.
Absolutely. It is different when you are at a meet with D3 schools. Typically D1 meets tend to just score innately higher because it is a D1 team. So you'll notice when a D3 goes against a D1, they do tend to score higher simply because D1 tends to score higher regardless of the skills that they're throwing. So for this particular meet, it might be hard to actually compare scores because they're both D3 schools.
That's a very good point. You know, it's always good to see season highs on events and team totals as a whole. But again, it's although it's all NCAA gymnastics, they are different divisions, and there's different focuses, different emphases on these teams. So on beam right now, after that third rotation, Bailey Tessina of Simpson leads. She was one of 2 hits for Simpson on beam, along with Olivia Short. And then on floor, Rachel Miller leads the Greenville Panthers. And of course, Ellery Gilmore is we're still waiting for that score from her. They're going to hopefully want to drop either the 8.975 or the 8.55 for that team total. Now let's look at these lineups as we head into our final rotation. Of course, Greenville is up, but Greenville heads to beam. Again, can be a treacherous event. We will see. And then Simpson heads to floor, where we again get to see a little bit of personality from these gymnasts. So for Simpson, we have the all-arounders, Avery Ingram. I believe Brooklyn Morgan might be doing the all-around today. And Izzy Brown. These are athletes to be looking out for as they kind of wrap up their 4 event totals. And what are we looking for from Greenville on beam, Jen?
Absolutely. So Rachel's going to actually do exhibition today. This is the first time that Rachel Miller has been in our beam lineup. She's worked really hard to try and break into that exhibition spot. We've really worked at adjusting our beam lineup. In terms of other people to look out for, you'll see Allie Cicito for the first time. She is an Aubrey, Texas native and with a biology major, and she is pretty much right now just a beam worker. But you'll notice she's got some really unique skills. She does a front aerial into a side semi, and she just got her front full dismount. Is working really hard to make sure that it is consistent so that she can give us our best score on beam. Again, like I said earlier, Molly Froman is on beam today, and this will be her first time competing for Greenville University. She is the only sophomore on our squad. She is a transfer from Southern Connecticut, and we're excited to have her. But all in all, our beam has been looking really good. They're going to see similar flight series to what Simpson did. They are just looking to hit as many routines as they can.
All right, so I believe we're still warming up right now. So as you mentioned earlier, Greenville's heading into a couple final stretch of its regular season meets. As far as Simpson goes, they are obviously facing Greenville today, and then next week we'll be hosting Alaska. Thankfully for Simpson, not traveling to Alaska at home, and we'll wrap up their regular season away in a tri-meet against UW, Eau Claire, and Winona State. So, Jen, a lot of people watching are probably very familiar with how kind of the NCAA postseason works, especially for predominantly the Division I schools. How does Division III season run, and how can it differ from those bigger schools?
Well, the schools that we're watching right now are going to be unique because they are brand new programs. So I can't speak for Simpson, but I do know that right now we don't have a conference just because Greenville doesn't have any other gymnastic programs in their conference. So Director and Head Coach Bill has been working hard to try and procure a spot for us in one of the other conferences. For example, the MIC, the Midwest Independent Conference, that is SEMO, Lindenwood, Centenary. And back when I was a gymnast for Bill at SEMO, he started that conference to give schools that didn't have a conference to go to. There is an NCAA D3 National Championships. I believe it's USA Gymnastics D3 Championships. And we will not be eligible, nor will any of the other new programs this year. But we're hoping that next year we'll absolutely be able to qualify and hopefully attend one of those postseason meets.
What does it take? I mean, obviously, Bill probably has a little bit better kind of look, but what does it kind of take for you to get into a conference when you're trying to, you think of, we hear a lot of talk at the national level of like the SEC conference, welcoming Texas and Oklahoma in the coming years, but how does it work for a smaller school like Greenville or Simpson trying to basically, petition or, attract a conference to be like, hey, add us?
So the trickiest part is that everybody wants to have a strong conference, number one. So with SEMO, Lindenwood, they're Division I programs that have been around for a long time. So having a D3 they want to be sure that we're at the high enough level where we're going to be able to compete with them. With schools like the WIAC, which is your Wisconsin schools, and I believe Gustavus might also be in that conference up in Minnesota. They don't want to have to travel down to us necessarily. So letting us in would mean they might have to come to us. And that, again, it's all a little bit maybe political with what works for budget, university procedures. Some schools have a big travel budget, some schools don't. And when you're talking about SEC or Big Ten, obviously that's a much different realm in terms of the amount of the depth of the pockets of those programs. So
yeah, I mean, simply put, Greenville and Simpson, as far as I know, are not taking private jets to their competitions.
Yes, exactly. And and there's a lot of D1 schools who don't, and that's why SEMO made its own conference, because we were able to compete with schools. We went to Alaska, we went to Hawaii, We traveled all over the country to do that, but it wasn't as often as a typical, Big Ten SEC school.
Yeah. Exactly. So just different environments. Like they're technically rated together. They're all kind of lumped together, let's say, on road to nationals and these national rankings, but they're still very different. And there are some unique aspects that, it's just different things to look out for from a Division I program versus a Division III program. But hopefully, in the coming years, we will see Simpson and Greenville be able to find that home.
We hope next year to go ahead and have that all figured out for our athletes. They work hard and they deserve to showcase themselves on a national level. Madison Carter's up on beam. She has been our anchor on beam, I believe, since the beginning of this season. She's going to do a really pretty handspring layout. She's got nice, pretty lines, and she's very expressive on beam.
What do you know what sparked the change from her moving from anchor to leadoff?
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said that. She's actually leadoff and not anchor.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
I was just like,
for every meet.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yep, she has been leadoff every meet. She's going to do a front full dismount with one leg, which is a higher value. A little hop on the end, but she had great amplitude and she was really tall. That was a good start, a good leadoff for Madison Carter on beam.
And that was Kaylin Talley, who just wrapped up. Didn't get to catch all of her routine. Again, if we were watching the beam routines in there, as a gymnast going on floor, you can see it in the background. But she did have a very interesting kind of front leap type of deal. I can't even describe it, but there's some creative choreography on floor that isn't necessarily assigned a name exactly, but Kaylin, that was her last routine, and again, she's from Grants Pass, Oregon. She's going to be looking for on floor, if she did hit all of her skills, Kaylin has a high of 9.65, so she'll be looking to kind of get around that mark, maybe in the mid 9.5s. And you can see
next
that
time
meet happening behind, so you might be able to catch some of that as well.
Can we talk them into more cameras next time? I'm just kidding.
We'll have to get more commentators too, because although I've called a men's meet, I want to do them justice, and being able to split between women's and men's, that's challenging.
They are a whole different breed, and then you're gonna want to ask Sydney to scooch over so we can see all of beam. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
There we
She's
go.
setting up that phone. I guess she's probably live streaming it. Looks like.
That's our Instagram that she's got going on. So this is Ali Cicito again. She's usually an exhibition on beam, so they put her into lineup because she's gotten much more consistent. She's got great flexibility. She's a very calm beam worker. And she's
Avery
got some
Ingram is going in the background if you are looking to watch her. So it's the same time.
And that's a great stick, and they will be able to give her that combination between her front aerial or her side aerial into her side semi. She does a switch leap into a tuck 3/4. Very well connected.
Very controlled double back from Avery Ingram over on floor.
She's got a pretty full turn. Ali's going to dismount the beam with a front full. She's worked really hard to get this particular skill in her float routine. And she nails it. That is an awesome routine from Ali. The whole team is going to be ecstatic about that.
Very clean routine. And a very solid set from them. And then we've got, again, we're popping over to Avery Ingram. It looked like she had a half to a front full. As I believe her second pass, she had a clean double back to open, very controlled. You'll see a third pass from her. Double pike, pops out on that landing. I've popped a little bit forward. You really want to be lunging back in your landings to when you are showing that control versus stepping forward, but she kind of hopped from a little bit of a stick, so It's right in the middle. But very good. It looked like a very strong performance from Avery. Caitlin before her earned a 9.425. Not her best, but still a very strong routine from Simpson, who, again, was trailing after the third rotation, so they're really looking to try to put a little bit of pressure on Greenville in these final few sets. Addison Carter for Greenville did earn an 8.725 for her opening set.
I know Simpson, they only have one meet left. And I do not know if they are in a conference this year or not.
Well, I was looking at the schedule. It looks like they have two potentially. Two. It looks like they have Alaska, and then they do have one. They might have added the UW. Is it Eclair?
I think it's Eau Claire, but I'm not sure.
Eau Claire?
I think it's Eau Claire. Mm-hmm.
Like I was pronouncing it like the pastry. But yeah, it looks like they might have either added either the Alaska meet or the Eau Claire Winona State Tri meet. So
Awesome.
they'll have a couple more. I do not believe that they are in a conference right now. Cannot say for sure, but it's just, these first, again, as we discussed, these first season programs, they're just still trying to find their footing, and it's just great to see them out here performing and getting to perform against each other in the same arena and show off all this excitement and newness.
Absolutely.
Right now we got
scored.
Brooklyn.
No, you're good. Allie scored a 9.425 on beam. That is going to be a high score for her. And that's a score that's really going to help the Greenville squad keep their lead.
It looks like Brooklyn Morgan, who is on floor right now, can't see exactly, but I believe she might have stepped out of bounds on that pass and or fallen. She definitely had some over-rotation on that double back. So although we did not see the landing, it's going to be a deduction on that. She's got a great hop L in that leap series. Before her, Avery Ingram earned a 9.5.
Looks like Amara Nelson finished on beam.
Exciting
And
to
up
see
next.
her score. One and a half to front tuck. She sits it just a little bit under rotated on the second part on that front tuck of the second pass. Not exactly the routine Simpson was looking for, but there were some high points from Brooklyn, specifically her leap series, and some great personality in that routine. Now Simpson is only putting up 5 routines, so that means they will not be dropping a score like Greenville will get to drop the lowest score from their counting routines. So it'll be important. It's really important to find those landings in these last couple of routines.
This is Sydney on beam. She also has some really unique acro combination series. Looks like Amara scored a 9.6 on beam. She does a front toss into a back handspring that was really, really clean. Little bit bent knee on that back handspring, but absolutely should be pleased with that flight series.
Especially with the connection.
Absolutely. Which is a switch leap into a split quarter. Again, Sydney is a calm beam worker and bar worker.
She did win bars earlier this meet, so that'll be a great feather in her cap leading this meet.
And another great stuck landing. I feel like their flow on beam as a team is looking really good today.
To be a strong beam team is to be a strong team.
That's exactly it.
It's so important. You can look at the Division I level as well. You can do
So
well on beam, then you're doing good.
absolutely. I know our goal this meet is to go ahead and have beat the 180, surpass the 187 mark is kind of what our team was hoping for today as a team, on top of just sticking all the routines that we could.
For reference, if Greenville does hit that mark, past that 187 mark, they will definitely be recording a season high, as their season high right now is 186.675. We are just waiting on some scores from Brooklyn Morgan and Sydney over on beam.
Our Greenville women have done a really good job of adjusting to college life. We have girls from 10 different states.
In different states, wow.
And they are an amazing group of young ladies. Truly student athletes, all of them.
I feel like a lot of times the student aspect can really get lost in translation. You know, a lot of people think that you go to college and if you're an athlete, like it's almost like athlete student with the athlete coming first. But ultimately, you know, especially in gymnastics versus other sports, and especially in the Division III program, the getting to perform, getting to compete in college athletics, it's really just, you know, something that adds to the college experience. But these athletes are really focused on their education so they can go and pursue whatever career they're looking to after college.
Absolutely. And I always say that gymnastics is just a microcosm of life. As coaches and as gymnasts, we learn all the things you need to learn to be an excellent human. Fall down, get right back up and try it again. Be calm, be confident. And I think that our team, Greenville especially, has really done that this year as a team, which is, I'm really proud of all of their successes that they've had.
Looks like Sydney earned a 9.35 on beam. You know how that stacks up compared to her previous routines this season, Jim?
That's going to be about her average. Her amplitude on her switch leg and her split jump is a little less, so she's going to take probably a 2/10 deduction on that, and that's where you see the difference in score compared to like Allie's with her 9.425. But that's going to be pretty similar to what Sydney normally scores.
So Brooklyn Morgan earned an 8.025. Her set, again, she had a couple falls, so that's what led to that mark. Now we have Bella Dix on floor. She opened with a double full. Like a little bit uncontrolled on the landing, so it'll cost her a couple tenths there. Very rhythmic choreography here. I could not dance like the majority of these college athletes.
And
front lay to front full, very stuck.
Awesome. It looks like Molly's on beam now for Greenville. Again, this is her first routine as a Greenville University Panther.
Very fun series from Bella with that tuck down to the floor. And these dance sequences on floor are also, and on beam as well, are moments for the gymnasts to also catch their breath.
Absolutely. That was
Stuck
a beautiful
Rudy.
front full. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was gorgeous.
Very strong routine from Bella Dix. Exactly what Simpson needed.
Awesome. So that's Molly's dismount. That was a front full. And looking at the smiles on all her teammates' faces, I'm going to assume that she has stuck that beam routine.
Like a very strong dismount. You can tell that she's a tall gymnast, which often doesn't necessarily, tall does not equal long lines, great lines, whatever, but it certainly lends itself to that, where it's just Really, you can emphasize those in your dismounts, your series, your leaps, etc.
Molly pretty much works beam and bars for us. I know she has been working to try and get into floor. Audra will be next for us on beam. Audra also has some really original combinations for her acro series. And again, has great personality on that beam.
And we'll get to see Rachel to close out in that exhibition. She will definitely be our last routine of the women's side of this double dual meet. It'll be exciting to see her get up and show us her set.
Absolutely. And here comes Audra.
Let's go, Audra! Let's go, Audra!
Nice beam mount with tight legs. Gonna go ahead and do a back tuck. She might choose to do that one again. She's gonna go ahead and do a front toss. Pretty full turn. She looks calm on the beam. She has beautiful lines and expressive hands. Pretty toe jump to split half, a little short on that split. She'll get a deduction for lack of 180. Beautiful stuck dismount. That was a solid routine for Audra Kaiser. She did not hit, I don't think, her flight series. Molly Froman, though, scored a 9.6 on beam. That is an awesome opening score for Molly.
Very impressive from Molly in her first routine for Greenville. And then heading over to Simpson, Emma Tolbert is on the floor right now. And the final routine for Simpson of this meet. Tolbert is from Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Front leg to front full, controlled step out. It looked like in her previous passes, obviously she had a strong second pass, and I believe she had a pass before that. So we will wait and see how Simpson finishes this meet. Obviously, again, with only 5 routines, they will not be dropping that final score. We are waiting on Greenville's final counting score, but we're going to head over there to see Rachel Miller's exhibition.
So Rachel also has some unique skills. She does do a Barani, which we had seen from one of the Simpson girls, where she lands 2-footed on the beam. Again, a very tricky way to land on that beam. She's got a beautiful handspring layout. And she also dismounts with a front full in the tuck position.
Always impressive to see gymnasts doing those 2-footed elements on beam. Again, such a challenge. That's the kind of skill that Simone Biles throws in her beam routines for reference at the elite level. She's done the Barani, and the Barani has given her trouble. So very difficult.
It is. And that is a new skill. They figged going ahead and said everyone had to have a side semi of some kind. That is a new rule. So gymnastics is always evolving, which makes the sport exciting. Skills come in, skills come out. But again, that basic handstand, like we talked about, always stays the same. But it really makes our gymnasts reach out to find new skills and set new goals for themselves.
It is artistic gymnastics, so we're always about the creativity, the composition. You're not seeing these gymnasts compete the same routines over and over again, although that can happen in like compulsory gymnastics routines and of that nature, where they're competing basically the same skills. Here we've got those creative sets. We've got everybody really getting to show their personality through their strengths and their choreography.
And we're just waiting for Audra's score. I'm sure they're debating whether or not to give her that flight series connection. She did take a pause in between those two skills. So again, our next home meet at Greenville is going to be on February 25th at 7 p.m. We are versus Southeast Missouri State. It will be held in the Farm Heritage Museum, which is not on campus, but it does allow us to have a lot more people attend our meets. If we were to have it in our home gym, we couldn't have very many spectators. So it takes a little more work to get all the equipment over to the Farm Heritage Center, but we do hope to have upwards of 600 people at the meet, with 3 other community programs coming in to be guest teams.
That's fun to have those additional teams come in as well. It gets to add to the atmosphere.
Absolutely. We're just waiting for Miss Rachel to go.
Looks like we might have a little bit of a technical issue right now, just a bit frozen. Hopefully we can pop over to that beam camera again in a moment.
Awesome.
But we do have a score for Emma Tolbert, who rounded out Simpson's floor rotation. She earned a 9.550, which is the highest score for Simpson on floor this meet. That brings Simpson's floor total to a 45.875, and their team total to a 181.850.
And looks like our video is back up. We're just going to throw her handspring layout right here. And she sticks it, had to fight for that landing. Her legs tend to get a little bit loose in that layout, which does throw her off. She's been working really hard to make it more consistent. There's that 2-footed Barani takeoff. Great job sticking that skill. It is a tricky one. Notice her full 180 on that switch leg leap. Sometimes her strength and power get the best of her. She tends to automatically rebound off that beam instead of absorbing landings. Could do the front full dismount with a big stick. And that is a good showing for Rachel's first GU beam routine.
Again, that was an exhibition routine, so that will not be counting to Greenville's overall total. Greenville will finish with a 46.925 on beam, which I believe is a season high for Greenville. Am I correct, Jen?
I believe it is, absolutely. I think today we hit almost all of our series. It was just one athlete that didn't connect it, but I would say yes, that is a great showing for beam.
And of course, the Panthers dropped Madison Carter's 8.725. And with that great showing on beam, Greenville takes the win. Again, its second win against Simpson after facing off 2 weeks ago. Greenville takes the win with an 184 to Simpson's 181.850. Teams were tied at the half, but after Simpson saw some trouble on beam, Greenville was able to pull away. As far as event wins, vault, Simpson had a better showing there. Greenville had a better showing on bars. Greenville was very strong on floor and as well as beam, and that was really the difference maker, is kind of pulling those few rotations together to get the win for the Panthers. And let's take a look at our event winners for the meet. On even bars, we had Sydney Hubeck of Greenville, who earned a 9.3 for her. Great set, easily one of the best routines of the entire meet, not just on uneven bars. Looking at beam, Mara Nelson and Molly Froman in her debut routine for Greenville tie with a 9.6 for the beam title. That's got to be so great for Molly and her motivation and just confidence on that apparatus.
Absolutely.
And then looking at floor, round out the individual event winners. Greenville's Rachel Miller and Simpson's Emma Tolbert tie with a 9.550, matching scores to win that apparatus. And we'll take a look at our all-around scores as well. So taking the all-around title with a 36.925, Avery Ingram of Simpson wins it. Rachel Miller was close behind with a 36.65, and Amara Nelson rounded out the top three with a 35.350.
This was Rachel's first time doing all-around for us, so first time she's been a 4-eventer this week.
And Jen, for clarification, I know that Rachel did an exhibition on that final apparatus. Does that still count towards the all-around as far as the official meet totals?
That's a great question. Because she's at the top of the standings, it may. I know it does not count in the team score, though. It's just her as an all-around athlete individually. That her 8.775 on beam did not count towards the team's final score, but it does count for her as an individual athlete.
So Avery Ingram wins that all-around title, of course, but a very strong showing for those 3 4-event athletes. So with that, we have wrapped up this meet. Again, the last time that these 2 first-year programs will face each other this season, Greenville ekes out the wins in both matchups, but of course Simpson had strong showings. Definitely think they'll be able to take away some positives from this showing, this meet, as they head into their final 2 meets of the season. Jen, what do you think the biggest takeaway for Greenville was today?
Well, I think they had a shaky start on bars, and with any young team, sometimes if you start on an event that's not your best, it's hard to regroup. And I would say that our team absolutely was able to regroup and have a great meet. I think we've had some other adjustments to our lineup, especially on beam, that made a huge difference for us. When they get back to the gym, they just need to work at continuing to work tight, hitting those handstands, which will really help on bars. Even with falls, if you have tight handstands, your score tends to be higher. But again, as a first-year team, I think they fought for every landing and they fought for every skill, and I think they had a great day.
Great. Well, that wraps things up for us here. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's broadcast. It was great to be able to work with you, Jen, and call this meet for these 2 first-year programs that are obviously off to a very strong start, and we're looking forward to seeing how they develop as NCAA Division III programs in the coming years. So with that, we will sign off. Again, I'm Patricia Duffy, joined by Jen Stukenberg, and that's it for us today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Patricia, so much.